traders. How's everyone doing? Welcome to F.A.C.E. Javille. How you doing, Alexander? Everyone doing okay? Oliver, how are you? Okay, let's take a look around. Good morning, Marco. So day before the NFP. Quite a day yesterday. Gold was on the verge of a breakout, and that one comment from a Fed official rejected it up there, right at major resistance. So, we're still in this rectangle. I remember Blake saying that anyone who knows which way we're coming out of this rectangle is delusional. And I tell you, it sure looked like, sure was tempting to get long here to have a lead on a breakout, but great advice by Blake, great mentoring, and we're still in the middle of this rectangle. So I guess a lot's going to have to do with what the dollar does here, and the dollar is coming off from some of these moving averages and prior support. Market's most likely anticipating. Hello, Ryan. Going to get to you in a minute. Market's probably anticipating after the ADP yesterday some type of weak number. And we had some wild action yesterday in the 10-year. I think we actually made a new low. How about that? By a few bips. And also starting to diverge. I see something here that, if we get one more shot down in the 10-year, and also from the beginning of the week, I was featuring TLT before we had this signal, this candle, that we could get one more high up here. I thought it might be because of the number and some economic weakness, but looks like we could get a third drive. I think that's going to be important, and it could be yield's last hurrah to the downside. So I think tomorrow could be a very important inflection point, especially if we get a weak number and TLT shoots up and then reverses, and a similar scenario in the 10-year yield. If we get new lows, say something like this happens, getting some type of 3 drive here. All right, maybe down to 110-ish tomorrow, that could possibly be put in a floor for yields. We're way above the lows from last year. So just pay attention to that potential line down there. It comes in a little under 112. And obviously that's not going to help the dollar. Cable's still outperforming, and EG did make a new low. It's trying to fight its way back. Perhaps just a stop hunt here under this, took out these lows by a few pips and now reversing. Not a bad shot to give this, lower beta in EG into the NFP tomorrow, where you take a shot here and you risk 20, 30 pips and see if we could get a turn, because we're definitely not confirming this low here. Look at where the RSI reading is. So Ryan, what's happening on the other side of the pond? People just
hi Dale.
Wait and see mode, bro.
Yeah, we just obviously had the BOE fly past. Market was looking for 2 people to signal intention to cut QE. It was only 1 person in the end. As I mentioned in a preview I put in the chat room this morning, QE really isn't, tapering of QE really isn't a big deal because of the numbers game. There's only a few more months left to do it and a finite amount left to buy, so it's not a big deal because it's not open ended.
But yeah, we saw that, Ryan. And I know it's fairly new. How do you find the community support within the chat room and the collaboration between people in there? I know you're probably not objective, you're subjective now, but you've been around and you call a spade a spade. What do you think about that? Say, for example, you were fairly new to the business or even advanced, is there an edge in there?
Yeah, definitely. There's one thing about communities and good communities like the Forex Analytics one is that you get the ideas bouncing around. You get to talk to people. There's no airs and graces. No one thinks they're better than anyone else. The real community comes together to help other traders out. And I've already been speaking to a couple of traders, via direct message and privately, who are, maybe less experienced or struggling on certain parts of their trading and want that additional advice. And, so I'm already handing out that sort of advice to traders, and happy to do it. Continue doing it. That's where I see myself in the main.
Okay, so you could even find some education in there, a lot of education. And Ryan, I have a saying, and I'm not bashful to say it, surround yourself with traders better than you, and you rise to that level. So when I first came here to Forex Analytics, the whole team was better than me. So anyway, I've improved since
but
4 years ago, and I've been doing it for decades.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like, Coach. It's always learning. Even doesn't matter how many years we've spent in this business, you continue to learn. Every day you learn something new, and you learn from the people around you. You learn from what you read, what you hear, and it's constantly learning. And for the newer traders, less experienced traders, that's gold. And education is one of the big things we're going to be featuring on over the months ahead, because I think that's really where traders need. You get a lot of traders, I've noticed, come into chat rooms and stuff, and they talk the game, but that they're not really walking the walk, if you know what I mean. And there's a fear amongst traders, that they've got to show that they're good, or got to be part of the crew. And I think that does a disservice to them, and it's not good for them. You've got to be honest. You've got to put your hand up and say, what, guys, I've been doing this 5 years. It's not going very well. I need help. And because the help is there, and the people in the chat room, you, me, Blake, Amanda, Paulie, everyone. If someone puts their hand up and says, I need help with this, no one's going to turn them down.
Guys, I want to ask something. You said that's gold. I wonder, the young people nowadays, if something's really valuable, they say that's Bitcoin. They don't, right?
Probably.
Yeah, we
sorry,
said that's
bad joke. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was good. So it's a good warm up. So Estelle,
I'm here all week.
Huh?
I'm here all week.
Thankfully only 2 days to go.
All right. Well, I'm not expecting fireworks today. I think that the fuses are not lit, and they'll be lit tomorrow morning, and probably a lot of books squaring today. Tomorrow looks like the market's set up for a big day, as far as direction of rates, direction of the dollar, commodities being part of that. So today is, for me, a wait and see day. And in fact, here I found this pretty good quote here, right here on. So when you're impatient, okay, write this down. Jack Bogle, I'm not sure who it is. Forex Falcon. Okay, so I'm advertising. But time is your friend, impulse is your enemy. I can surely attest to that. So. The waiting's the hardest part, but what's a big deal if you wait a day to react to the NFP? So let's bring our captain in. Blake, how are you this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you,
buddy? Good.
Hey,
good.
And Stelios, those jokes would only come from somebody who is a persistent metals bull.
Yeah.
They don't say true. That's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They only say that's gold.
God. A lot of gold flying around the Olympics.
Bullish gold much?
I have my flaws. I know it.
Anyway, hey guys, good morning. So Ryan, I want to start with real quick with Ryan. We had the Bank of England today and the BOE decision. One of the things that I noticed, one of the things I didn't do this morning is I got up and I was like, I didn't hurry myself to my office because for whatever reason I was like still in dreamland this morning. Usually it's like, it's Bank of England morning, and I didn't have any. Probably the issue here was I didn't have any sterling exposure, so I wasn't thinking at that moment, oh, I need to rush down and get to my desk. But then I got to my desk and I was like, oh crap, I just missed I just missed the BOE. Everything just started moving maybe like 2 or 3 minutes before. So I was just trying to catch up, but watching price action. And what I noticed is the euro sterling, once again, it held that 85 pence level, probed through the lows. And then you had mentioned that that not as many members came in, hawkish as the market was expecting or hoping for. So that was really more the catalyst that stalled the sterling from holding the gains initially. Do you think?
Blake, there are a few things a few notes to talk about regarding the BOE, but you can continue, and whenever you want, I can go through them.
Yeah, well, I was asking you guys, and you can address this as well, Stelios, because I wasn't, again, I was a little late to the party this morning. I for whatever reason, just didn't get in front of my computer right, like that normally that I do just beforehand. So what did you see? And maybe Ryan will chime in there.
So it was kind of mixed because, first of all, okay, rates unanimously unchanged. Bond buying was 7-1 to keep it unchanged. So it was Saunders who descended. The market was expecting 6-2, so that was a disappointment. But on the other hand, there were a couple of other things. Okay, first, the Bank of England talked about how the CPI is going to move towards 4% near the end of this year, but then it's going to fall back to the target of 2%. Again, transitory. And they did say that, some modest tightening is going to be needed. But the interesting thing was that they had said before that they want to start reducing the stock of assets that they're buying when the bank rate has gone to. They said now when it's gone to 0.5%. Before they had said to 1.5%. So they've changed that. So that kind of, I think, balances out the disappointment of the 7-1 split rather than 6-2. So the pound kind of, after the MPC, the pound didn't know what to do. Euro sterling dropped below 85. Then it's gone back up. Now it's kind of trading where it was before. It's a little bit confused because there were arguments for both sides. So unfortunately, no clear direction yet from the Bank of England either, but there are things brewing. It's we're kind of getting there. And we also have a timeline from them as well as to when they expect inflation to start dropping. Just like the Fed said to us, when was it? One of the Fed members said September, October or something like that. After that, they expect inflation to start going down. Well, the Bank of England is telling us the end of this year. So if we get to the end of this year and inflation is not going down, then we have problems.
Got it. All right. Well, Ryan, do you have anything that you wanted to add to all that?
Yeah, I largely agree with what Stel's saying. Forget the inflation forecast. They jumped to 4% from, I think, they were expecting less than 2% in Q2, Q3 at the May projections. So, they're chasing their tail. They're playing catch up. It's like an old man chasing a £10 note blown down the street, then trying to get the forecast right on inflation. As for the rest of it, as I said in the preview I put up, the taper doesn't really matter because of the numbers involved. And as I mentioned after the BOE, even if we've got basically 8 weeks between now and the next MPC meeting, so that's roughly 27 billion of 75 billion they've got to do. So we get to September, there's maybe 45, 47 billion left to do with QE to the end of the year. What are they going to taper? It's peanuts. It's nothing. It's meaningless.
Yeah, and you put this in your write up too. Yeah,
that's right. So the important factor is that unless something stupid happens, the virus kicks off again or the economy takes a nosedive, QE is done the end of the year. So really, we're only shifting to rate expectations. Yeah, we can talk about the unwinding of a QE and not reinvesting it when rates get to 0.5%. That's only 0.4 percentage points or whatever away. That's a hike or two at most. So yeah, from 2023, we're going to get into the rate expectations in more detail. But I still think, like we've been speaking about with the Fed, the furlough scheme, the job support scheme in the UK ends in the end of September. So the BOE are going to want to see the reaction to that. They're going to want to see, are workers going to come back in, or are we going to see unemployment jumping because a lot of firms have been on life support with a furlough, and now the life support's been cut, they can't survive, businesses go bust, and more people become unemployed. So again, it's probably October, November before we get a clear idea of how these rate expectations are going to start playing out and the future of policy.
Awesome. Okay, and their Q&A is starting right now, so maybe they'll shed some light on and move the market a little bit here. I'm kind of viewing the sterling as like a bull flag pattern while we're above this 38% retracement. So basically, while we're above 138.30, it's bullish, and this is written in the basic technical analysis last night too. It looks like that we're supported at the 38.40 level, and I think that 38% retracement's really just got to continue to hold. So we'll see if the sterling can hold up here. We're seeing it outperform, pulling the euro sterling back down towards 85 pence. One of the other things I want to talk about really quick, and this is what I mentioned in the daily roundups, Dale, right at the beginning, he said, was talking about gold, and we were talking about the resistance at 1835 yesterday, and how it held. And one of the great things about yesterday's price action that I have to mention going into tomorrow, and speaking of which, tomorrow is obviously non-farm payroll. We got Canadian jobs report at the same time, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Canadian as well. The greatest thing about yesterday's price action is that that gold rejected 1835, which is the range high. Now, if you're a bull, you're probably like, oh crap, here we go, another rejection. But what that did for us, and this is the point I want to make here, is that fortified the resistance in the gold market. And from here on out, we know that there's support here at 1790. There's resistance at 1835, and no matter what direction it goes, and what Dale said is correct. You can't assume which direction it's going to break out. Not when it's this tight of a range. You can pretend like and you can make a guesstimate, but you're better off just flipping a coin. I mean, how many inflation, persistent inflation gold bulls have been wrong over the last, month and a half, right?
Nobody.
I mean, look, gold's gone straight down, right? And so if you're,
but inflation is not a phenomenon that's changing by the day. I mean,
yeah, but everybody is. I've heard argument for the last month from the entire, whether it's CNBC, Bloomberg, Twitter, everybody's a bull. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is how many people have been bullish gold for, you just even take the last 2 months and have been wrong, basically, because it hasn't gone anywhere. You could say, well, they're early. Well, if you're early, you're wrong.
Depends
right?
On what time.
If you're talking about time up until this point, you are. So let me just say this, Steve, before you jump on my argument here. It rejected 1835 again. So a breakout above 1835. The greatest thing about the price action yesterday is it reinforced how big that resistance is. So the good news is, if the dollar gets crushed tomorrow, gold's going to break out, and we know there is a 40-point move between here and here that's doable. That's the greatest thing about yesterday's price action. Flip side to that is, if the dollar, which is persistently strong, go watch Santiago Capital's Brent, whatever his last name is, that gentleman. Anyway, he pointed out yesterday in Macro Voices is a good podcast that the dollar's strong and it continues to stay strong. Yeah, how about if the dollar breaks out tomorrow? Well, if the dollar breaks out tomorrow, gold probably is going to break the 1790 level, and we've got a good 40-point drop. As a trader, that's all we really care about. As a trader, I just want to know where the next move is. My assumption is a breakout of this range is going to give us a 40-point move in either direction. And you guys can try to figure out, who's smarter and who's got the bigger brain. But in my opinion, the price action just told us exactly. It just showed us its hand. And as a trader, that's all we need. We need to know what we need to know what the market's holding.
And that price action you're showing there is very similar to the S&P that you showed yesterday.
Yeah,
two levels, top and bottom.
Exactly. And again, as traders, look, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, and I never, ever claim to be. So I know that we have a range here, and I know what hand the card, what hand the market has. A breakout here, a breakout there. That's it. That is, and as a market participant, I just want to know where the breakout points are, and that's the greatest thing that happened yesterday. Is it showed us that, right?
Blake, we talked about this over the past days and weeks. I'm a major gold and silver bull in the medium term, but I don't like the price action. I think they're underperforming clearly, just like Sansi says that they've underperformed pretty much all other commodities this year. And that's why I think if we do get a dollar bounce or a risk off move, I can easily see $100 to the downside in gold. Even though I think we're going to, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 afterwards, but I can easily see that. So that's why I'm sticking with, I only have like a third of the position of the full position that I really want in gold, silver, and miners and all that. And I'm not doing anything yet. I'm just sticking with that. And if we do get a drop, I'm going to be adding, that's for sure. But they're underperforming. You can't deny that.
It really is. And I have to go back into our conversation from a few months ago. I think a lot of the gold, interest in owning gold has gone to other gold bugs. Gold bugs have switched from gold bugs to crypto bugs. Right? I mean, the crypto, I don't think you can deny. And again, I'm just having this conversation with that Bill Baruch. I had a conversation with him a couple months back. Open interest in a lot of these precious metals have come down. Where have they gone? They're being spread thin through cryptocurrency. So if all the gold bulls or gold bugs, the fanatics, if you will, that's the term that we've used over the last 30 years for people that just love gold and love silver, that those bugs, they've converted, a lot of them, and they've converted to crypto.
Like us, they're getting old.
Well, well, they are. I mean, Ryan, you've been around this game for 30 years, or 25 years, like myself. We started probably around the same year, right? And we've and Stelios, same thing. We've heard these conversations, but if you go and watch, spend any time watching and listening to the crypto people, they sound just like gold people. It just different asset class. It's the exact same conversations.
It's like us 30 years ago. They're discovering a market, assets, new stuff, and it's a rinse and repeat of what we went through.
You know what, guys? I personally would never consider cryptos as an alternative to gold and silver. And I thought initially that a lot of people who invest and trade gold and silver would do the same. But now I'm starting to think that I am kind of the exception. I think a lot of people are switching from metals to cryptos,
and they have been for a long time. It's been clear as day. but I don't know. Anyway, Steve, you were mentioning about gold. So tell me what your opinion was here about this price action. That we're going back to our conversation here.
I have no disagreement with you having to do with reading the price action in the short term.
Okay, okay. Let's be clear here. I think we all recognize that there's inflationary pressures coming. I think we all recognize that. But as Stelios pointed out, this is the point I'm trying to make here. Well, not point I'm trying to make, but point we've made consistently for the last month is these precious metals are really underperforming. And so I have to ask, if if inflationary pressures really are as persistently strong as they are, why hasn't gold outperformed? Or maybe the Fed is right, and I guess the Fed is right. It's going to be transitory, and prices are going to come crashing back down again. I don't think that that's going to be the case, but if you look at gold, you would almost want to make that assumption.
Blake, if you had told me that real rates are at negative, 5%, whatever it is, I would have told you gold is at new all-time highs and a lot more. That's what scares me. What else
Agreed.
do you need if you're a bull to see gold higher? Gold go higher.
I have the answer for that.
I think it's going to go higher, but I think first we might have a dip. Carry on, go on, Steve.
I have the answer for that, and I'm pretty sure, and I've said it in advance. I know why gold isn't moving forward yet, because there are a lot of market participants that falsely believe. I've said that multiple times during the past few months, and people that listen and know it. I said in advance that people might not start buying metals in the belief that the Fed is going to react to inflationary pressures. So the answer to when is gold going to respond to that is when this belief is shot down. So when it becomes clear to everybody that whatever reaction we get is going to be extremely limited to deal with this inflationary pressure situation.
But what happens? Well, okay. Well, what happens if the Fed, ratchets? If they taper quicker, or than the market expects?
That's very simple. Then the economy, which is standing on wooden legs, breaks down, and then gold rallies for a different reason.
So your argument would be that gold's going up no matter what.
My argument is that if the Fed does what it's supposed to do, the economy will crumble, because the economy never recovered in real terms, ever. If, on the other hand, as I'm suspecting, the Fed does a lot less than it should do, then people that are reluctant to buy precious metals because they believe that there's going to be a response from central banks which is going to be countering these inflationary pressures, realize that there is no more reason to wait because nothing is happening, and then they buy gold.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
can I throw a curveball? Can I throw a curveball into the conversation? What about the climate aspect? A lot of people have been looking for silver to gain on US infrastructure money being spent, cleaner energy, that sort of thing, solar power, which, as we know, is a big use for silver. So they want to combat climate on one side with the use of silver. They've still got to dig the silver up, which is hardly climate positive. Is there perhaps a shift out of these sort of areas, gold, silver, for their industrial uses, coming as a result of the climate change stuff that people want to put through? Is that lessening the demand?
In any case, Ryan, whenever we have metals doing well, silver is always overperforming gold, or almost always. Perhaps that's an excuse for it to overperform more. So I'm expecting that silver might do a lot better. And if somebody just opens the chart and looks at the type of price action we had in silver, because if you focus in the short term, you do see metals not behaving that well. But that's the problem with not having a top-down type of analysis on charts. If you have a top-down view on the charts, and I'm not talking of course about you or Blake, right? I'm speaking in general here. You realize that we've had a very, very, very impulsive move higher from the lows, both in gold and silver, and the type of price action we've had during the past few months is some type of a
Corrective.
consolidation after a huge move higher. So, even from a technical perspective speaking, these type of moves tend to get resolved in the direction of the prior big move, which was higher.
Jobless claims are the way in line with
Yeah, and but basically all the data is in line, right, Stel? So
Yeah.
hey, Steve, guys, we're gonna have to continue this conversation later, because I know Dale has an interview coming up, and
So Blake, just want to jump in. Continued
Yeah.
claims has dropped by a big chunk, about 400,000.
right here.
300,000. That's a big drop.
That is, and and that's probably why the dollar spiked up a little bit as well. So thanks for pointing that out. And speaking of which, guys, I just put in a link, and I got to make a couple of comments really quick. I just put in a link to the Forex Flow Ryan's post that he wrote here. He's running it for the NFP competition for tomorrow. Make sure you jump and cast your vote on how many jobs. I think we're going to have a miss tomorrow. That's my assumption. But don't let me influence what you guys think. But make sure you click on that link. Also, LZ said, what happens when altcoins go bust and identify interest, and then the interest floods metals? I think that's always a big risk for some of these altcoins. I believe all these altcoins will end up going away, and will interest go into straight up Bitcoin or straight up metals? We'll soon find out, I guess. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Remember, we have a special pricing that is available because of the merger between Forex Analytix and Forex Flow. So make sure you take advantage of that, because I believe that our special pricing might be going away here in the next couple of days. So, and that's no joke. So enjoy it while it's here, because you haven't seen it in 7 or 8 months. And anything else that you guys want to mention before Dale takes over here?
My only comment had to do with what you said about the altcoins. I think that even crypto bulls have to realize we now have, I'm not even sure how many thousands of altcoins. There is absolutely no way that more than a few of them survive, no matter what happens.
There was like almost 6,000, I think.
Yeah. So I hope that at least people are smart enough to realize that even if some of them survive, statistically speaking, there is no way that the vast majority of them do. They will vanish, as they came into existence, and most people will never even know they existed. That's how they're going to go away in the first sign of big financial trouble, which eventually is going to come again, right?
Yeah, we'll see, and maybe it'll start with this big head and shoulder pattern that we're seeing in the Bitcoin market. Just if you guys are not aware, this is what it looks like.
It measures zero.
No. This is inside the big. This is
the
inside the big
42,000
of 30,000 range.
Where
we're
range
to
30.
So Dale, this is one of the times that technicals point to the same price that fundamentals do.
Oh,
no, really, on the daily, someone showed me that chart.
And there went about 100 listeners that we had that said, "Wait, Steve is a crypto bear." Anyway, all right, Dale, is your interview here?
JJ's here, buddy.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks everybody for joining. For the rest of you guys that are Forex Analytix or Forex Flow subscribers, we'll see you guys on the morning edge in 40 minutes. I'll catch you there. We'll go through.
Be sharp on the morning edge today, Blake.
I'm always sharp on the morning edge. All right.
Cheers, guys.
Enjoy the interview. Bye, guys.
Today, guys. All right, JJ, how are you?
Good, Coach. How you doing?
Good. Great to have you back. You want to share your screen, Mr.
Sounds
VWAP?
Definitely.
Do you know what? VWAP. It reminds me of a joke. You know what you call a Jewish guy and an Italian guy? Jewop. Ever hear that before?
Yeah, I did, but these jokes, we can't tell them anymore. We are all going to get done.
Oh yes, I'll be
know?
canceled. They'll close my all my accounts.
That's I just every time I say I think we need an app now. Like, can we say this? And then the app says, yeah, it's okay, you can say it.
The nice part with political correctness is that if you're a Jew like Dale is, you can say those jokes, right?
Oh, that's right.
You just can't say them if you're not.
I know.
Yeah, anyway, so yeah. In fact, I'm a few other things too, so I can make all kinds of jokes. So anyway, so here we are looking at market profile.
Indeed, we are
in the S&P. So we made a new high last week. So far, we've missed making a new high this week. Are we gonna make a new high tomorrow, JJ? After maybe a weak number and on the NFP? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, this thing, we're in about a 7-day balance here. Big balance range. And the funny thing is, 2 days ago, we came down and tested that swing low and just pounded on it and couldn't break it. So I keep saying, these lows are like a piñata. If you beat on them hard enough, all the candy falls out. And, we haven't done that yet. Because this market is the strangest market I've seen in my lifetime since '93, where nobody wants to sell anything. I've never seen a market.
They rotate into another group.
Yeah, I've never seen a lack of supply, and I've never seen stock hoarding. Because people are just borrowing against their portfolios. There's 800 billion borrowed against equity portfolios right now.
Is that a new record for margin?
Well, I wasn't reading this margin. It was an article in the Wall Street Journal, and there was another article about how high net worth individuals don't sell to profit take anymore. They just take a loan out against their positions because the tax implications are better. So it's just led to this massive lack of supply. And I honestly feel that this market is the way it is because we have, there's massive short positions holding this market up. Especially in the ES, just the way the structure of the market is, you just don't.
So it's all being fueled by people who try and pick a top, shorts build, and then they squeeze them, and we get to the next level.
And I also think people are shorting in the hole a lot, and that bid is holding the market because I kind of back in my old days, I used to my specialty was squeezing shorts. So I would engineer these short squeezes and we'd suck all the stock out of DTC and, pull certificates and things like that. And then just get everybody short and buy them in, and it just seems like it's the same kind of feeling just because of human nature of people following price. And, every time this thing breaks, they start shorting the lows and then it just rips right back up. And that short position is holding this thing up because the market breadth has been horrible,
especially in NASDAQ, and yet that's showing the relative strength.
Oh my God!
The AD line in NASDAQ is very negative with new highs here.
Exactly, and you know what the thing is? If once we get over 15,140, there's no overhang in this thing.
Yeah,
and we're going up to 15,247.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. I've never seen anything like this. The problem is, and you look at things like Apple, there's 17 billion shares in the float and less than 1% of that trades on a daily basis. So God help us if anybody actually wants to sell 20 or 30 million shares of that stuff in a day. Because the market's just not liquid enough to take it.
Wow. So there's hardly, the trading volume in Apple is about 1% every day of shares outstanding.
Of the float, less, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll trade it'll go up like 2% on 70 million shares of trading, and you're like, whoa, okay. It's I mean, if you look at the market structure of Apple too, it's pretty thin on market profile. I mean, it's
what shows it to be thin, that you have more of the green line and not as much action. The blue dots are where the trades are taking place, the blue area.
Well, this is the value, right? The blue areas are the value. These areas where we just one time frame up, which every day is a trend. There's no trading ranges. I mean, in the old days, we'd build a trading range. So when the market fell back, people would really reinitiate longs there. But now because it's all just spec money moving this market back and forth. These guys, when they step aside, like Billy Wang and his $30 billion margin call, I mean, you see what he did to Viacom with credit, right?
Yeah.
That stock is just completely destroyed. They've, there's nothing left of it because, they just completely jammed the thing up, and now it's doing this thing, trying to clean itself out. And,
so how do you trade in this environment? Short term, only from the long side?
Short term. And what I do is I have these market profile levels and references. And what I teach my guys is to trade for income. Don't try and be a hero in this market, because the moves don't really last long. The buying is only so wholesale can take the market up to sell their product. So, when they move, you move, and just always focus on the next piece of structure. Like right now, the market's 44.06. If you're long at 44.02 or 3, and it can't run that 40. Yeah. If you can't see, look how they just nailed it right down. If they can't run that 44.08 stop, get out of your trade right before it comes right back on you.
Okay. Are you mainly just stock indexes, JJ?
I trade the E-mini because I trade for relaxation.
Okay. Oh, no, I believe that.
And I like one market because it's like having, one girlfriend, you know her inside out, when she's in a bad mood,
You think you do.
Well, you think you do. But I just find a lot of new traders, they'll trade the mini.
I've had women tell me that, and excuse me, ladies, I bet you'll agree with me that you're at least 4 moves ahead of a guy.
Oh, definitely.
All right? You've already have 4 moves planned. So, and that came from a woman, so it's not me saying that. And I'm always at least 4 or 5 moves behind in my relationships too. So yeah, I talk about that, JJ. I mean, why do you have to be a portfolio type trader if you find something that fits your personality?
Exactly.
Because when I was on the CME floor, I knew guys that never left one trading pit, and they did quite well. They didn't have to diversify. They knew, like you said, they knew their girlfriend in every major technical area like the back of their hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that an evolving process for you to get there?
No, it was because the thing is, I came from the institutional side where I was in charge of the order flow, and I made the candlestick chart, and I never looked at them. But I'd use a candlestick chart. To me, it was like a party invitation, get them to come to the party and sell them a bunch of stock. So I used that. And then what I did was I lacked focus and discipline when I was a retail trader, because we don't have that on the institutional side. Right. So I had to focus and discipline one market. And then I saw people, they'll trade 6 markets poorly. I'm like, why don't you just focus on one and do it right? And, earn an income,
right. You're a grinder.
I'm a grinder.
And that's great advice, not to try and be a hero. And because I've tried, and I've been knocked off my horse a few times,
especially for new people with small accounts, right?
Yeah. Have you tried the new mini oil contract?
No, I haven't tried that. I haven't. I'm curious to see what the order flow is like in it.
Okay. How about the micro S&P? Very liquid too, isn't it?
I love it. Sorry, sorry to interrupt. I love it. It's like training wheels, right? It's like learning to trade with training wheels, and that's how I teach people in my room. I use the micro so they can learn how to trade, manage a position, and then not.
It's so much better than learning on a demo, isn't it? Because even if you have $5 at risk, it changes.
Exactly, it totally changes it. And it gets them, get some skin in the game, and then they know what it's like to get hit. But at least you're not standing toe to toe with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that'd be rough. So do you trade with stops, JJ?
Always.
Okay, so you put a hard stop in when you enter a trade.
It's always structural, because the stop does 2 things. It's insurance for the account. The other thing is it's like paying a snitch for information. The stop tells me, it's like, hey, you don't want to really be in here.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Saskatchewan.
Okay,
and, then I spent 27 years in Vancouver, where my trading.
Okay, that's where you get your street smarts.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the scam
Uh,
capital of the world, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I was wondering how, you almost sound like, you could be from New York or Chicago, but
I used to trade for a lot of wise guys. So
yeah, okay. Well, but I sure wouldn't want to blow up one of their accounts, buddy.
exactly.
Huh?
Definitely not. No.
Yeah,
You always want them to owe you favors, not the other way around.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you ever go, like, what's the time frame you're working off of right now? What's the time period? This is a daily, so you day trade off a daily.
Yeah, these are just half hour bar.
Oh,
These are half
30
hours.
minute, 30
Yeah,
minute chart.
it's the traditional Jim Dalton TPO.
Okay.
But I kind of take what Jim has taught us and I kind of make it a little bit more practical for people who don't really understand the market. So my whole thing is, where's the inventory and where are you? If the inventory is above you, you can expect some selling. If it's a weak market. If the inventory is below you, it means wholesale's got all the marbles and they're going to push the price up to, sell their product higher.
What do you do during red events like tomorrow in NFP?
Hands off. Let the market do its thing. Let the guys with the $200 million accounts sort it out and fight it out. Just like a bar brawl, two big guys fighting it out. You let them fight. One of them drops, then you can walk across the bar.
Okay, so you won't even trade it the whole day?
Oh no, I will. After the reaction.
Oh, okay. So yeah, all right. So after, maybe the first 15 minutes or so, let the dust settle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to think what else we could talk about today. Anything else that you teach people that you want to share with our community?
Yeah, just when you're trading, a lot of people start trading and they think they're going to start making money right away. And I think a lot of the marketing, that you see, leads people to believe that, but it's a skill like anything else, and you got to learn before you earn, try and learn what creates the chart, because a lot of people are out there, they're just trading technicals, but they have no idea that there's even a wholesale element to the market, that takes the other side of our trades, and then they build up inventory. And you talk about things like inventory and people just go, what's that? It's like, well, and a market is just like a market, it's just like Walmart. We get a load of toasters from China and we sell them at a higher price.
Jack Schwager told me that trading is one of the only endeavors that people think they could read a book over the weekend and start trading, and compared that to reading a book about brain surgery and then thinking you can walk into the operating room the next day and perform.
Exactly. My girlfriend,
because you have a 50-50 chance of being right. Okay?
Exactly. That's true. And this way, if you mess up, you don't kill somebody. The patient doesn't die. Right. You blow up your account, which is horrible. And I've
anyway,
seen that
before I had my lobotomy, you want to show your website, JJ, and how people could be taught that would have an interest in using market profile, and
that would be
have
great.
your Abdul's asking for a link to find you, or you could show your there you go, micro futures.
Yeah, it's
stock trading room. Okay.
It's microefutures.com.
Okay.
And on Twitter, I'm VWAP Trader 1.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
We got your handle wrong announcing you today. It's being corrected.
Oh, that's okay. No problem.
Okay.
And we.
And if you have any guys interested in trading currencies, send them our way.
Definitely. Yeah, I do. I have done that in the past.
Okay.
Because the currency.
All right. Well, then I'm going to invite you back then.
Of course.
All right.
Got to send them to the coach, right?
Yeah. Well, you're a pretty good coach in your own right, JJ. I could tell just from talking to you. When you've been in the business for a while, after 5-10 minutes, you could talk to people and know if they know.
Yeah.
So, you've got the risk management down. You have a tool that you believe in, and you're not trying to make the big call for a market top like I do, or a inflection points. Do you ever get tempted to call an inflection point?
Well,
I'll have for 100 handle move.
I will look at my levels. I have my levels, and these market profile levels, they make you look a little smarter than you are sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm the thing with me is my whole thing in trading is humility. You know,
Yeah.
I'll say, you know, let's watch for the reaction here. If the selling shuts off, okay, you know, we've run out of supply at this level, and just wait till it, you know, starts to move back up and confirm the other levels. And, you know, let's just trade. My whole thing is just, you know, we trade point to point, and, you know, where's the next stop? Where's the next piece of structure? Can we take out that stop? If we're long,
Yeah.
great. If not, we're out.
Okay, that 4365 next to it, it says J level. What's the J stand for?
That is the nickname of my girlfriend, who's an anesthesiologist, and she came up with that 4365. And I don't know where she got it from, but I put it on my chart just because.
Well, it's a good number. Look at how it held, like a little double bottom.
Yeah, it held. So I do that. It's this kind of game we have. She trades, and
okay. So I thought it might be a line in the sand for the bull case, or the first indication that something is wrong.
Well, that's that. I really like the 75 and these levels. What I do is I just have a balance zone, and once this thing accepts over a level, it usually rotates up, and then it'll come back and test the level. And once it tests the level and comes down to it, it'll rotate back up to the top of the balance zone. And that's a market profile thing.
JJ VWAP, my trading warrior brother, Mr. Anonymous. Are you anonymous to your mentees?
I am. I still have clients that are alive. So
okay.
When they're gone, I'll
all right. Well, let us know when you come out of the closet.
I will.
And really appreciate you stopping by and giving us a look at what S&P looks like, the cash on market profile today. And also, I wish you and all your clients continued success in this market, and get ready for a big correction this summer into Labor Day. That's my advice to you.
I will heed that advice gladly, Coach. Thank you so much for having me.
Down is faster. So I'm just wondering, when it happens, down is faster. So thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you,
have
Coach.
a great NFP day tomorrow.
You too.
And again, you could find JJ on Twitter at VWAP1, and his website looks reasonable if you want to trade micros and minis. And do people have to go out and get their own market profile software? You provide it, or
I do a screen share for 3 hours every day until
I see. So not all your so not all your people have it themselves. They don't have to.
And what I'll do is I'll also use a candle chart and translate, because I'll just use VWAP and 3 standard deviations to show people where the position is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, JJ.
My pleasure. Thank you, Coach.
Good hunting, my trading warrior brother.
Thank you, sir.
All right. That's JJ, everyone. Guy's a sharp scalper. You could tell by just listening to him. And trade the NFP live with us tomorrow. You could catch the crew in a little less than 20 minutes. And Blake promised he'd be very sharp for the morning edge today. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. You're very welcome. People are thanking you, JJ, for being here. Thanks for your time. Adios, everyone. You're welcome, Anthony.